Hey guys, well, finally the weather has started to lighten up, warm up a little bit, and change course so that we are headed closer to spring. And to think in just 2 more Sundays we get to change the clocks again, and spring is at the end of that week. So we're almost over with winter. I couldn't be happier. For any of you that ended up in the rain and floods, that's what this video is about. I'm going to show you the areas that flooded around here, and then I'm going to tell you something that me and hubby discovered while the waters was falling back down. But anyway, I'm going to get you on down here. I'm going to point some spots out to you. I have photos to follow every point, so you'll get to see how high the waters were and stuff. And it wasn't quite a major flood like what's been in the history of this area, but it did do some damages, especially to some homes in lower areas where the waters didn't quite crest and recede as quick. I'll see you down here. Now here was part of a yard, and as you can see, the creek is kind of shallow here. And then, like, it ended up building up debris next to a drain pipe. There's actually a drain pipe right in that area where those cinder blocks are. Unfortunately, the debris covered it up. And now, the water flows right over top of the driveway. Right in here, all of this was completely covered. You can see by the mud over there. Got up decently high. Hope y'all can hear me. Anyway, yeah, that over there, you can see the water got up high, and that was completely covered. You couldn't see either pipe. Down here you could see the mud, and here now this was just 2 days ago. The rains came on Saturday and Sunday, and by Monday morning the waters was up and rising, and the waters didn't start to recede until Tuesday morning. All of this right here was impassable. There was no passing. It even got up there on top of that person's driveway. We wasn't able to drive through here until either Tuesday evening or it was Tuesday evening, I think it was, or definitely Wednesday morning anyway. It actually literally looked like a lake. It went up into that old garden right there that used to be a garden. up here. You can see a little bit more of the mud line. Went really up in there, where that is. And it wasn't too long ago that they redug out this ditch, so this creek, so that it flowed wider and had better flow. And it still wasn't able to hold all the waters. The way it goes in this area, there's 2 points that when the water rises, you're stuck in between. Well, as it happens, there ended up being 4 points where there wasn't any passing. A person was able to walk on this highway, on this road, without worrying about any kind of traffic. I was one that walked it. The water was even over this, and it didn't rise over this until late Monday evening. As you can see now, the water is back down in its usual creek bed down there. Now I'm going to take you to another spot that flooded. I'll see you there. Okay, I am now here at a ride spot that is nicknamed Beach Trees, and there's a history here. It's supposedly haunted. This place is supposed to be a good fishing spot, and a lot of people has fished here. But apparently when they have fished here, they have heard sounds of like something falling over the hill or coming down over the embankment. Sorry about that. So like the history of the place is that before this was ever a road, that when it was traveled like by horseback and cart, that a horse and his rider had slipped and went over the embankment. And so now supposedly if people fish down here, they can hear it at night when like it's been drizzling or something. They can hear the tumble or the stumbling or something coming rolling off the embankment. Well, let me show you what the river looks like now, and then I'll show you the mud lines around here. Okay, so this is where the river is now. It's not completely back down yet. And this is what's left of Beach Tree. It really washed it out bad. If anybody could get down there now, which it doesn't look like anyone could, right down there would be a great fishing spot. But don't look like anybody actually could now. But yeah, at one point in time, people would come down here and fish, and they could actually, you know, hear the sounds. Looks like it ripped up a water pipe. There's the one end, and there's the other end. You can barely see it. There. So, over there you can see a little bit of the mud line. That's West Virginia. And then like here, it came across the road over here. The mud line was like up here, right around the guardrail where it bends in, right around there. And you can see it up the hillside here. And there's a lot of traffic over in West Virginia. But anyway, like, you can barely see the mud line. But down here is the lower point. So let's walk down here and I will show you something that I had discovered Tuesday morning. So, like, I walked down here early. It was around 8:30 by the time I got down here. And I'd walked it. Like I said, there wasn't any traffic at all. And as you can see, this is a real mess here. The water's got up even higher here because this is a low point. But I had walked down here. There wasn't any traffic because it was blocked on two ends. And I took photos, and I will be posting the photos for this spot as well. And across the road there was a log, which you will see in one of the photos. Later on, about 10 o'clock, me and hubby came down on our four-wheeler to go on further down the way to the holler where I used to live when I was growing up as a child. And I spotted over here the car coming. Let me get out of the way. I spotted right around here, and this is heartbreaking, folks. It really is. I'm trying to forget it, but here's a surgical glove right here that somebody lost. Over here, this right here is the log that was across the road. And down here, it's still a little slick there. Down here, me and my husband, well, as we was going down, I saw what looked like a jacket and maybe a straw hat. And I thought, I want to examine that on the way back up. And so on the way back up, I said, "Hun, that looks like a dead person in there." He said it was just debris. I said, "Yeah, but it's got shoes and a hat, shoes and pants." So we turned around. And at first we thought that it was just a mannequin. But looking closer, we saw it was a person. There was a dead person lying right here. The imprint of the body was along that mud patch right there. And I'm never going to forget that. And we went to his cousin's house, which happens to be a Kentucky Marshal, and got him down here, and he examined it, and sure enough, at first he said, "No, that's just a mannequin." And then on closer examination, he said, "No, wait a minute, it's a woman." Now, for viewer discretion, I will not be posting the photo. But it wasn't something I was expecting to find. after a flood. It wasn't something I was expecting to find, not one bit. And it's still etched on my mind. And I have been asking the Holy Ghost to help me with this, because it's not easy to deal with, especially when you end up finding out who the victim is. I didn't know the person personally, but apparently she was well known in this county. I'd never met her myself. I didn't know her personally, but it happened that my daughter, when she was in school, I think this happened like in 2011 or something like that. I'm not quite sure of the year. But this woman's daughter was with her grandmother, and they'd had a car accident. A drunk driver hit them, ran them off the road, and they went into the creek. The woman's daughter was killed. The grandmother almost didn't make it. And so on Tuesday, it was a very sad thing for the sheriff to have to go down to that grandmother's house and tell her that her daughter was dead. I pray for the families that had lost anybody in this flood. Anybody. I pray for the families, because it's not easy. I'm going to take you a little further down and show you another place that was flooded over. Okay, now I'm at the holler where I grew up as a child. And this place is really bad for flooding. Got a little bit of traffic again. Anyway, this place is really bad for flooding. It gets backed up bad here. But the flood ended up getting up pretty high here. Sorry I got so close. I was wanting to make sure that you could hear me. Anyway, let me show you this here. Anyway, so like it got up to around there. You can see where the mud is. It almost touched that box. And it was all up in that yard. And there you can see how thick the mud is. They had to come through with the scraper and scrape it off, because like it was a mess. It was a mess. And when I had found the coat, Ree was actually coming down here to look at the water. And so, you know, it was on the way back after being here for about half an hour that I had hubby stop and look at that and discovered it was a body. But anyway, the waters really got deep here, and likewise I will show you the water. The photo is over on that side. I took it from over there because we couldn't get across. So that's how deep it was. Some people with pickup trucks was even trying to get through, and it was actually getting into their vehicle. It was over top of the guardrail completely. You couldn't even see any guardrail. So all of this took place. The river actually had started raising about midday Sunday. It started raising midday, and by Monday morning the waters was continuing to rise. By this time, by Monday morning, some of the real low points was starting to get covered, and by midday it was practically just the same as impassable. But it was like around Tuesday morning maybe around 7:30 or so, that the water started to lower back down. There's still some places that's still flooded, but on the whole, part roads are opened again. And like I said, my prayers are out to the families that had lost their loved ones in this. But my prayers are also out for the people who ended up suffering flood damage in any way or fashion, whether their home being completely destroyed or their furniture or whatever. There was one road that we went up, and the waters had gotten so high it actually went over top of a Blazer, a Chevy Blazer. The mud was over top of it. So in some places it really got deep. I know this one particular family, their house is set up on about a 10-12 foot high flood basement because it's a flood zone. And I understand that the waters ended up getting 7 feet in their basement. So in some areas it was devastating for some people, and they're comparing it to the flood of '84, even though the flood of '84 was even worse than this. But the flooding that we had gotten in this area where I'm showing you ain't nothing compared to some of the places in other parts of the county. But I'm thankful that I'm thankful that people are on their way of recovery, that they're recovering their home. Unfortunately, some people have decided to go on ahead and move because they've had to deal many times with floods around this area. And the other thing that happened with the flood is a whole lot of the roads along the side that's reeked like along hillsides, some of them have actually busted off. I know of 2 places that the road is actually closed so they can repair it, and another place you can pass by it, but on the one side it's completely broke off. So the water's really done some damage. And it's going to take a little while for this county to recover, because it was just 2 weeks ago that we had the icy weather for 2 weeks. And so that was a devastation in itself. Electricity shut off, and icy conditions where there was accidents and stuff. So I'm really glad that spring is coming up now, and that the weather is good, that it's really looking nice. And I'm just wearing a sweatshirt, and it feels great, because I was having to bundle up pretty tight. Taking out dogs, not a pleasure when temperatures are 20 and lower. So anyway, yeah, I'm loving the weather. But anyway, to any of you that was affected by like the ice that came through a couple weeks ago, because I know that went all through the United States, California and Alabama and Louisiana and Texas. Oh my gosh, I never thought I would hear of the day that Texas would be affected, especially the Houston area, but almost a good 90% of Texas was even affected, which blows my mind. And then of course, like on across in the eastern states and all that. So all those of you that had been affected by the ice storms, I pray that you have completely recovered from it, and that everything is back to normal for you. And for those of you that went through the heavy rains and the flooding, I also pray that you have full recovery. I know that it's hard to get flood insurance, because I don't know why you would expect insurance companies to cover flood. You would expect them to. They cover everything else. But nonetheless, unfortunately, I do pray that y'all's recovering, and that if you're moving, that you have safe travels, and that there are places that's donating cleanup supplies so that you can clean up your home and whatnot. You can look it up in your local paper, and it's on the newscasts on TV and stuff. They give the local places that's giving away the cleanup stuff, and even food banks for anybody who lost their food and whatnot. So yeah, just pray that all is well, and we'll get through this too. In a couple weeks it'll be like there hadn't even been a flood in a couple weeks. But anyway, I love you guys. You all are so totally awesome. I appreciate you. If this is your first time viewing, please subscribe, like, and share. I would love to see you join my YouTube family and friends. And if you're a new subscriber, thank you so much. I appreciate it. And welcome to my channel. I hope that you enjoy what I put out for you in the future. So as I had said, I love you all. You all are wonderful. And I will see you on the next video. You all have a great day.